Madam Chancellor, President Tai, honored guests, distinguished faculty, graduands, families, and friends, good afternoon. To be recognized by McMaster University, Canada's nuclear university, whose laboratories, classrooms, nuclear research reactor, and hot cells have shaped the Canadian scientific imagination, is a distinction beyond anything I could have imagined when I began as a young nuclear engineer in the late 1970s. This moment is not mine alone. My husband earned his science degree at McMaster before becoming a physician. My daughter spent her high school weekends studying in McMaster's library. My son, my granddaughter, all my sisters, and my 91-year-old aunt are also here today. And I think of my late parents who fled Uganda and arrived in Canada as refugees, my father working the front desk at a hotel, my mother as a seamstress, and who put their 4 daughters through school in this country. When I told my father about this honor before he passed away this summer, his pride said it all. Canada and institutions like McMaster had kept the promise he believed in when he moved here 50 years ago. To the parents in the hall, I hope you feel that same pride today. On behalf of every graduate, thank you. Some of you graduate today as scientists, others as engineers. You may think of them as different pursuits, yet both begin from the same truth. The world does not give up its secrets easily. Your work is to understand nature and apply that understanding for society's benefit, while remaining humble enough to accept that the world will keep reminding us how little we truly know. Science and engineering are forms of stewardship, the patient work of extending human understanding without ever confusing comprehension with control. I still remember the excitement and the nervousness of arriving at the Pickering Nuclear Generating Station for my first job. The plant had already been operating for a decade. There are 3 lessons that have stayed with me that I'd like to share with you. First, the things we build often endure beyond us. Pickering has recently been approved for a life extension. I am nearing my 70th birthday, and the plant will outlive me. Even as you change jobs often, your work will outlast your careers and sometimes even your lifetimes. To build well is to imagine those who will inherit what you create long after you are gone. Second, design often reflects assumptions about who belongs. When I first arrived at Pickering, there was no women's change room, no properly fitting equipment, and as I learned later, no rule for pregnant workers entering the radiation area, because no one had imagined a woman would be working at a nuclear generating station. The progress toward gender equity in STEM, visible here today, is one of the most hopeful changes of my lifetime. Your presence widens that path further. Third, systems rarely improve on their own. Progress depends on human intervention. Science and engineering begin in curiosity, the instinct to ask why something must be built a certain way. But they require the courage to change course when the evidence shows it should not remain as it is. I want to speak briefly about trust in science. In nuclear safety, I learned that trust is earned not by eloquence, but by rigor, by verification, documentation, and the quiet discipline that accuracy is non-negotiable. Whether you model a pandemic, design a bridge, or a vaccine, or a nuclear reactor, or sequence a genome, most people will never fully understand your work. They will rely on it all the same. Public trust rests on clarity and is destroyed by the pretense of certainty. It is lost not when results are imperfect, but when explanations are evasive. The public can tolerate doubt. It cannot forgive condescension or false precision. Say what you know, admit what you don't, correct mistakes quickly. Scientific knowledge has always lived in tension between what we can measure and what we must accept remains unknown. Integrity lies in honoring that tension. The challenges of trust are growing not because our values have changed, but because the systems we build have. The infrastructures you will work on, from energy grids to biological tools to machine learning models, are now so complex that no single expert can fully predict their behavior. Some of these systems, including modern AI, do not challenge us because they appear human, but because their internal logic is inaccessible even to their creators. That complexity does not reduce your responsibility, it enlarges it. As models grow more powerful and infrastructures more interdependent, the work of the scientist and engineer must shift from assuming control to ensuring understanding. We will need designs that can be audited, results that can be explained, and decision paths that can be traced to accountable hands. Public trust cannot survive systems that cannot be questioned. Build with transparency in mind. Build so that another engineer or scientist decades from now can understand how the system works and intervene when it does not behave as expected. And because no discipline exists in isolation, read widely. Many ethical dilemmas in AI, biotechnology, and advanced materials echo debates found in literature, philosophy, and history long before the technologies existed. Reading widely protects you from the illusion that the present is unprecedented. Precision, humility, and stewardship remain the foundations of public trust. Science and engineering endure because failure cannot be hidden. A bridge, a reactor, a vaccine, a data model, all must answer to the human world that depends on it. Integrity means running the numbers again when the result feels too neat, repeating an experiment whose beauty seems suspiciously complete, and documenting every assumption so that others can test it, and knowing they will. Science and engineering advance through both patience and revolution, through the slow accumulation of knowledge and the rare leap of insight. You inherit both traditions, the builder's patience and the visionary's daring. Every scientific discovery begins in a childlike sense of wonder, in the astonishment that the world is intelligible at all. Without imagination, science becomes bookkeeping. Without curiosity, engineering becomes maintenance. McMaster University has shaped Canada's scientific landscape for generations, from its reactor producing life-saving isotopes to the engineers and scientists who make their knowledge serve humanity. It has never just produced technical experts, it has produced stewards of the public trust. and you join that lineage today. To the graduates of McMaster's Faculty of Science and Faculty of Engineering, may your curiosity never harden into certainty. May your intellect be matched by integrity. May your judgment deepen as your knowledge grows. And may your imagination stay as disciplined as your reason. As you leave this place, proud of what you have achieved and mindful of the work ahead, remember this. Carry that pride lightly. Keep your tolerances tight. And guard the sense of wonder that first drew you to science, for it will be your truest guide when certainty fails. Congratulations and thank you.